if your life could be a movie, would people pay to see it? Welcome to Elite Thinking Club. I'm Chris, Jules, Julian, and I'm joined tonight by my co-hosts Liz and Michael. You all right, guys?
Hi.
Very good. How are you?
Yeah, awesome. Oh my God, guys, that if you could make your life a movie, would people pay to see it? And the reason why I'm saying that, because I've got a guest tonight. We've got a guest on the show tonight, Aron Welsh. And my God, I've started to read his book. I'm on like chapter 17 right now. And I'm telling you, this flipping book it needs to be a film. It needs to be a film. And everyone will be like, why? And I'm telling this guy, Aron, welcome, by the way. My special guest, guys, Aron Welsh, welcome, mate.
Thanks, Julian.
Hello.
Thanks, guys. Really
Hey,
nice to meet you.
Aaron. Thanks for
Hi
joining
there.
us.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
Oh, mate, you're okay. I got a lot to say about you. I'm so excited for you. This book, man, I'm telling you, I was like, I'm glued. Right, cool. So I'm gonna calm myself down real quick.
Okay.
I'm gonna calm myself down real quick. And because I've nearly forgot our intro. Guys,
Yeah.
right. You cannot change anything unless you're willing to understand it. You cannot understand it unless you're willing to explore it. Good debates never get ugly. We talk about things that make people feel vulnerable. Beliefs held sacred may be challenged because of life experiences, but we're not trying to make people wrong or to incite riot, but simply explore. Welcome to the Elite Thinking Club. Let me go again. Right.
I've never seen him this excited.
I love it when he has
yeah.
an excitement attack. It's brilliant.
Okay. The reason why I get excited about this, right, is because, right, it's so much to try and cover. I'm going to try and get it all so everyone gets kind of an understanding of who we have on the show tonight. Right, Aron, you're a veteran, Army veteran.
Yes.
Okay. You have survived a life-threatening infection. You were in a coma for this fight for your life. And not only that, like, you've recovered, you're here, you're living proof of something that not many people survive. What, like 1 out of 5 people? And
Yeah, I mean, yeah, when I was in hospital, I mean, fortunately the medical staff didn't tell me this until after I'd kind of recovered, but apparently they've had 5 cases of this particular type of infection in the hospital, and all of them have died. Doctors and nurses that I spoke to said the attrition rate is something like 90%. 9 out of 10 times of all the nurses and doctors who've seen it before, the person had died, and the other 10% had usually lost the limb that was infected. But
all right,
got some wicked scars, but
yeah.
I was going to ask about the scar. I thought it was going to be a bit bad taste.
Not at all.
That is amazing. That is extraordinary that you're here. I'm just going to touch the screen. I can't actually touch you, but I'm just going to, there you go. I've just touched you.
Thank you.
I'm just going to say, guys, if you are wanting to really get a fully detailed
account of this.
You got to get his book. Like, we've put the link in the description.
I've just literally ordered it.
Never really over. And
guys, I'm going red.
Can I say, honestly, Aron, the way that you've made this, for me personally, is very engaging, right? Your sense of humor, it's mature and it's realistic. Like, it's like you talk English, like, and I say that with like the sense that I can follow what you're saying. Do you know what I mean? You're not talking.
Yeah.
It's easy to read.
Yeah. I mean, I rarely read books. It has to be a good book for me to read. And
for real.
I mean, I'm only 77 pages in, but I'm going to finish that book probably by tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
No, seriously, yeah. I'm on chapter 17. I'm the same, Michael. Chapter 17, and I can't wait. It's like I'm like halfway. It's like 30 chapters, and it's like this is awesome. But this is the best part. I like how it bounces from, and this people are going to be like, what? And I'll say, right, you need to understand something. Aron got infected. He went to hospital, agonizing pain, goes under, pass out. Tell me if I'm telling it wrong, Aron. You correct me.
No, you're hitting the point.
Pass out.
Sure.
Coma. 4 days, 5 nights. Now, during that time, We all in this reality, you're on the bed. You are being kept alive by the
by the snake.
Right, yeah. Okay, wait, I'm gonna explain this properly. You are on a life support machine.
Yep.
We all see that life support machine. It makes that noise. Shh, shh. You are in a coma. You don't see what we see, but you feel and think. And you said it was like a snake down your throat.
It wasn't like a snake. It was a snake.
Right, right. This is just this.
I know.
Is
I know
like,
this. I know. It's sort of, it sounds like I've been, but I think it's the experiences that I had were mind-blowingly hellish. And when I tell people about it, the bit I really struggle to get across, and I hope I have in the book, but you know, I could write another book just on the subject of what I'm about to say, and that's the reality of it, how vivid it was. So the snake, for people who are listening, and it's, I don't think it's a spoiler of that particularly, but when I was intubated, I think my brain was trying to understand what my body was going through. Yes. And because of the, you know, the fact that my blood was pretty much poisoned, and I was given huge amounts of medication, my brain, okay, right, well, let's explain what's going on to him. So instead of the Langler probe, which is what they used when they put the your airway management system in for keeping you ventilated, my brain decided it was a snake, and I could see the snake, I could feel the snake, and when it was making its way over my teeth to the back of my throat and edging its head down into my airway, I could feel it breathing and contracting in its muscles, and it was as real. If anyone, you know, people are listening or watching this, if you look around your living room right now, that is the clarity of detail that these hallucinations and experiences that I had. It's that level of detail and clarity.
Is it it's kind of like a trip then, isn't it? Like, or is it kind of more because honestly, of how vivid it is?
Exactly what you just said, Liz, I thought of as well. I thought it sounds like, I don't want to say this wrong, but you know, like what you're explaining, Aron, yeah, the perception of reality at the time. I've never been in a coma. I can't know what it's like. I don't know what it's like, but I only imagine what it's like. I thought when you're in a coma, like you do go into some sort of dream. You're in some sort of dream. In your book, well, this is not in your book, this is your life, right? We're talking about this really happened for you. You were in a coma for 4 days, 5 nights. This world time, the concept of the construct of time, man-made time. Time as we know it, 4 days, 5 nights. When you was in a coma, Aron, it felt like how long?
4 weeks.
Wow.
4 weeks. Yeah, and it was. I know
you actually felt that length of time. You literally felt like, when am I going to wake up? When am I going to wake up?
Well, that's the interesting thing, and also the terrifying thing, because you don't have any perception of self in the sense that you and I have now. You're not sentient in so much that
that must be so weird.
Yeah,
you don't have, you know. So I wasn't, when I moved from a series of kind of experiences, so different worlds essentially I went through. And whilst I was in these worlds, I literally felt time pass. I watched daylight come and nightfall fall, and I watched that. So I was in worlds, some of them for a day, some of them several days. And whilst you're there, you don't have, I wasn't Aron with Aron's experience, Aron's dreams, Aron's loves, Aron's wants, Aron's prejudices, anything. I was a being in and of that moment, watching time pass, but also watching these horrendous experiences that I saw.
Right. For the viewers,
It's a trick, I know.
Okay, I know this because Michael's read it and I'm reading it. We're reading it, and we know what you're saying. We get it because it's really hard to really try and give you what I know. You know, when you read a book and you tell someone, oh, you got to just read it, and they're like, why? What's so good about it? And you can't put it into a sentence. It's like you just got okay. So I'm going to ask you about the heat, the fear, and the music. You talked a lot about the music. The music was doing your head in. Now you're in a coma, so you can tell me what music sounds like coming out of my speakers. Liquid drum and bass. I'm raving. What was you hearing? I doubt it was liquid drum and bass because the way you were saying it.
No. A little bit about. I mean, I've worked in operating theatres a lot. I mean, I worked in medical sales, and I worked for various orthopedic companies and companies which provide the products which are used in theatre. And I would often go into the operating theatre basically as technical support for the surgeon and the theatre team. So I'm very familiar with the theatre environment, and it would be quite normal for you to get in the theatre, and particularly a long operation or a long day of surgery, the surgeon would say, right, put some music on. So there will be music in the background while you're in. I don't know whether that triggered it because that's what some. But the music was played on loop. It was only a short burst. Bearing in mind, I had to listen to this for 4 weeks.
Can you make the sound of it?
Really badly, and it sort of went like this, but it changed because there were times when my experience, I was kind of a little bit more kind of the pace slowed down, and then there were other times when it was just in the background. There were times when it was so loud it physically hurt, and the beat was you're getting sick of me doing it already, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to think of what song they've played.
I was starting to nod my head.
4 weeks
Sorry, man.
of that.
Yeah, no, 4 weeks of the same track.
Oh my gosh.
Now sometimes it would be just the background, but other times it was have you ever stood at a concert where you stood right next to the speakers?
Yeah.
Feel your body vibrate. Sometimes it would be like that, and it would last for days.
Why do you think it was different? Because
it was almost kind of depending on the different worlds I was experiencing. I mean, I don't know if you want me to talk about some of the
no,
I do, if that's all right. I was going to ask you some.
Of course. Oh, guys, listen, right? Pretty much all bets are off when you've written a book like this, because people say to me, "Oh, do you mind talking about it?" And it's not that I am evangelical to a point, because what I experienced is part of a collection of symptoms called intensive care delirium, or intensive care psychosis, which is it's not a well-known condition, and something like 60-70% of people who are ventilated and sedated will experience it. And I'm trying to get the word. That part of the reason for the book is to get the word out about what people can go through, and I think I'm a good ambassador for it, because I had a particular bad kind of experience. Yeah, so I'm quite happy talking about it. But when you write a book like this, because kind of 95% of the book is actually the contents of my head. I mean, there's some stuff about when I came out of, but it was largely about what I felt and what I experienced. When you write a book like that, and yourself, you've written Julian as well, so it's quite scary when you first put it out there. But I think it was particularly scary because the book's basically the contents of my brain. And when I first published, I thought, if I publish this and people think it sucks, they're not just saying Aron's book sucks. They're literally saying the contents of your head suck, dude. That is kind of what I had thinking. So I'm quite happy to talk about it. But the world's, yeah, I mean, there are a number of them.
I want to say, right, if some people don't understand multiple universes or being energy, being a state of mind, because what I liked about your book is how you immediately explained that sometimes the mind creates pain. It doesn't need to feel it in a physical sense, because the mind and the body are like two different things. When your body was just laying there on the bed, that doesn't mean you switched off. It didn't mean
no, absolutely not.
You got what I mean? But because you weren't then confined to the human experience, the body, you could go everywhere. You could just, you were seeing, and and some of the experience, I mean, one of the experiences, if you don't want to speak about it, Aaron,
I will say,
but I will say that's cool. You don't have to. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's if they want to know, get the book. Do you know what I mean? Because I can only imagine that speaking about it over and over, sometimes that might get a bit trauma. Do you know what I mean? It brings stuff back. That's like someone saying to me, "Oh yeah, let's talk about Afghanistan." I don't want to talk about it. Thanks very much. Do you know what I mean? Or do you know what I mean? So if you don't want to talk about it,
no, I'm cool. I'm cool. I mean, that's you know, that it's in the book. Once it's out there, right?
Yeah.
And I'm happy to.
Okay, so I wanted to read a bit from it, if that's all right with you.
Sure, yeah, of course.
Yeah? Okay, cool. So
please do.
Right. I went to start of chapter 13 because I just feel like it was nice when I read it. So bear with me, guys. I attempt to speak, but the breathing tube prevents me. I feel like I'm being suffocated. I can't breathe. The ventilator inflates my lungs, then pauses. The pressure is released and my diaphragm forces the air out of my lungs. It keeps me alive. For this, I'll be forever thankful. But in my confused state, it is just another one of the list of devices being used to torture me, and I don't know why. I feel like I'm being waterboarded. The pause between the ventilator filling my lungs with the exact concentration of oxygen I need and then allowing me to exhale feels like minutes. In actuality, it's less than a second. I can't make sense of what is happening to me. The medical team's tightrope between keeping me sedated enough to recover, but not so deep as to kill me, is a delicate one. In retrospect, I am eternally grateful for the ventilator and in awe of the team of doctors and nurses who are vigil over my body, constantly checking my blood gases, oxygen saturation, urine output and composition, and other vital signs, not just to keep me alive, but to also ensure the best outcome when I wake. But right now, I know only two things: fear and pain. Unable to understand that I am really ill, in intensive care and on a ventilator, I know only the terrifying sensation of being smothered. The sedation is working on my muscles to the point of physical paralysis. It also works on my cognitive abilities to the point where I don't know who or where I am. My eyes just register an inky blackness. Occasionally a light flickers and then vanishes. Hiss, pause, hiss, pause. The ventilator works its magic to keep me alive. Unaware of all this, in my mind, I'm attached to an instrument of torture that is suffocating me to the point of near death before releasing its grip momentarily. I have a vague awareness of people around me, murmurs from incoherent voices which I take to be those of my tormentors plotting in the background. What are they planning, I wonder? I struggle and feel that I'm being physically restrained, ignorant that this torture is saving my life. That is,
wow.
Mate, your book, mate. When I'm reading it, Aaron, one thing I like is you paint the scene. Sorry if I don't read too great, yeah, because like
no.
But when I'm reading it, and we went from like, okay, so for those that don't, the story is very good. It bounces from present to future, then back, and then it keeps. It's like, that's why I say it's got to be a film. It has to be a film because it's awesome. And I know it's like your pain, Aaron. I know it was your personal experience, and you know, I feel like when someone asks me about what's it like being a soldier, I'm like, oh my God, I know you went through all that torture and hell. And I know, like, I'm reading some of the, you know, when you have the different realities, the different experiences, I've read some of them and I'm like, fuck that. Do you know what I mean? Excuse my language, but I am literally like, mate, I don't know. You had no choice. You had no choice.
Yeah.
You were in it. And yeah.
Do you literally feel trapped? Do you literally feel like, do you understand that it's like,
no, because
do you have memory of the normal reality?
None at all. And that's what I mean.
So you literally feel like that is reality.
The word trapped isn't appropriate in this context, because trapped infers that you were inside of a thing with something outside.
Yeah.
And you don't have that. You're robbed of any perspective and any reference point of any other thing. You are purely of that moment.
Yeah.
And late, I mean, this may be a bit of a spoiler, but there was a time, and I was, you know, constantly kind of terrified and in pain, and I was having these various experiences of kind of my brothers being tortured, things that I saw and did in the army. So I had these kind of constantly served up in front of me, and they were real. They were as real as can be, and some of them were quite, you know, fantastical and kind of ridiculous, but horrifying nonetheless.
Yeah, you spoke about how sound became objects. Like when the sound was, you referenced a piece of one of the realities that it was like daggers. The music wasn't like hurting like sound wave. It was like actual daggers.
Yeah, yeah. I was floating through kind of space. You see, do anyone remember the 80s movie Tron?
Yeah.
The black face. For those of you, you're a gamer, so you will. Yeah, Tron. It was, the reality was like that, so super neon vivid, but I was floating through it, and I was watching there was shapes around me, geometric shapes changing into different forms, but so fast it just it hurt my eyes to look at them, because the pace of the change was so quick. And as I was floating, the noise of the music. Remember, you know, this is my brain. If you ever wondered, if you've got any doubt about how powerful the human brain is, then so the music was all around me, and the music twisted into spikes. You know, like some people say that they can certain noises have a color to them, and flavors have a color and things like that. It's an extension of that.
Yeah.
So the sounds formed daggers all over my body, thousands of them. And things like that. It's an extension of that. Yeah. So the sounds formed. And in time to the music, they went all over my body, of every inch of my body. The spikes penetrated me, and I could feel them, and I could feel the pain.
I wanted to ask you, Aron, that what I'm gathering as I'm reading on is I started to think, is your world here, like say amongst us, like here, right? When you're here with us, what's going on, yeah? But when you're on the bed and you're in the coma, do you think you're still picking up on the energies that surround your body here? Because because you spoke about experiencing the graphicness of, you know, your brother's tortures, and you were witnessing it.
Yeah.
Was it because your brothers were in the room and you could feel what they were feeling? They must have been feeling like they're losing you. Like,
I have no doubt, Julian. I have no doubt.
So you were picking up on that energy, and your brain was putting it into visual for you to see what you were feeling. Do you get what I mean?
Exactly. So I've got an older brother and a younger brother, and when they came to visit me, they were still at the stage where they didn't know whether I was going to live or not. And it was probably more likely the former. Sorry, less likely to live. So they were there visiting me, and I was, fully sedated, and I found myself, and so obviously, they were scared and terrified because of worrying about me. My family are very close. So my brain picked up on this energy or whatever it picked up on, and said, right, okay, Russell and Travis are very distressed and clearly in pain. Explain this. Right, okay, what we'll do, and what it did is the book cover, that's kind of as close as I could get when I was describing the book cover. So it's very similar to how the book cover looks. So I was floating on kind of an arid desert kind of landscape. And I was probably 25, 30 feet off the ground, maybe. And I was just hovering there. I had human form at this point. Sometimes I didn't have human form, but I had complete awareness. And I was just kind of floating above this arid desert. And 25 feet below me, whatever, there were my two brothers. But not just my two brothers, there were copies and copies of them. So there was something in the region of 200 copies of my brothers. And they were naked. And their arms and legs were pulled as if they were being pulled, kind of like
in Braveheart.
Yeah. So pulled it until the sockets of the shoulders and the hips just ripped open, and their arms and legs separated from the torso. And all the time they were looking at me in the eye and screaming. And then their abdomen would be kind of, invisible claws would pull their abdomen open, and their intestines would kind of spill out. And then their heads would pull back, and the sinews would stretch in the neck and snap, and their heads would come off.
Oh my gosh.
And then there was a puff of smoke, and they'd vanish. And then another puff of smoke, and they'd reappear. So this is going on 200 times in front of my eyes. That lasted for 4 days and nights. I floated what has been eviscerated for 4 days and nights. And the fact that there were copies of them, and the fact that they were vanishing in puffs of smoke when they were finally released from their torment, and then a puff of smoke again, well, that's weird. That doesn't make any sense. When I'm there, and of that moment, because I have no other reference point to cling to, that was the world and what happened in the world, in much the same way as I'm sat looking at my monitor now, and that's my monitor on my desk, in my office, in my home, because this is the environment in which I live. That was the environment in which I existed, and I existed in that environment for 4 days. And Julian, what you're saying is, I think that was my brain's way. It's picked up this energy of my brothers, the fear and the pain that they were in, seeing me. And then it's made up this narrative to explain what they're feeling.
But you were aware they were your brothers in that reality, though.
Yeah.
Isn't that fascinating that your brain was able to recognize that in that vivid visualization you were having?
Absolutely,
they were your brothers.
Yeah.
They could have been anybody. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. If they were just humans, but you didn't recognize them, but the fact your brain was still working, or elements of your brain were still working within the illness that you were suffering, your body was suffering, your brain was identifying certain aspects still, which is very fascinating that it was able to do that, and it was able to put you into this complete different vivid reality, which was torture for you. It must have been like to not be able to switch it off at any point. How I think my head would have exploded. It must have felt horrendous. I can't imagine how it felt.
It sounds a little bit like
you can't even blink.
Have you ever seen Lucifer?
No, I haven't.
No.
Like in Lucifer, when people die and go to hell, that's basically what happens. Like their reality is literally they just replay the same thing over and over again, and it just.
I can imagine. Yes, that must be hell.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's what I'm saying. And I was like, you understand how we work time here. Your brothers may have been in the room for what, an hour, 2 hours, but to you that's 4 days.
Yeah.
mm,
Do you know what I mean? And this is what I was, when I was reading it, I was like, this is what I thought it was. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't.
Yeah, you got that. Yeah,
It's,
you're right.
it's crazy, right? And I'm gonna talk more about another chapter, chapter 12. Aron, I nearly flipping cried, bro. I nearly flipping cried. Like, I mean, I'm in Costa Coffee, bro, and I'm like, shit, man. Like, people are here. You know what I mean? I'm gonna take my laptop and read the rest home. Do you know what I mean? It really got me, man, because you know, you speak about your message, you speak about Karen a lot. You know, she is like, she connected us. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But she was there throughout it all, from the very start. Do you know what I mean? And she's still here now. Let's not pretend like she's not sitting here.
Yeah, she's still here.
You know what I mean?
She's downstairs right now.
Bro.
Hello, Karen.
Yeah.
hi.
Right. So chapter 12, man, I'll nearly flipping crying in Costa.
That's the one I'm about to read.
Yeah, Michael, man, just make sure you're not like around people, because you will. I got flipping. I was like, mate, like fucking hell. So, all right, if I say about it, all right.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Aron's on the bed, comes round a tiny bit. Aron's there. Someone else is there. I forget who else is there. So, guy.
My brother. I think it's my brother.
And you just got a bit of strength, and you just try and put your hands to work. You do a love heart with your hand, and then you do a circle. And it was a message, and they got the message. Like,
eventually, my brother was terrible.
Yes, trying to play like charades at Christmas. But
yeah,
no,
the most shittest game of charades.
Right, but I mean, like, you must have felt like you weren't gonna come back.
I didn't think I was.
Yeah, and it
I
was.
thought
this is so scary.
This was like this is what I was trying to do. I mean, I don't know whether you're gonna say what I was saying.
Is that like world, love or world?
She's my whole world.
Oh.
I thought I had a moment of lucidity, and my brother was there, and I didn't think I was going to live, and I just wanted to get the last message out that when I was pointing at Karen, going, "She's my whole world."
Yeah.
Oh my.
I don't know what it actually. It's probably more like kind of that. Probably what I was doing, but that's what I was trying to do. She's my whole world.
It makes sense, and you know, you're saying that to your brother as if to say, if I go, you know, you got to take care of my world, you know. And bro, it was magic, man, and I could feel that when I was reading that, and it's powerful. This has got to be made a film. Okay.
Well, she said hello, by the way, Karen. She's on the live.
Oh.
Okay.
Bless her. That week must have been the worst week of her life.
Oh, it didn't get any better.
I mean, I know it was
for a long time.
The worst for you as well, but how long did it take for you to recover?
Define recover.
Well, I mean, like to actually come out of the sort of the hallucinations and to actually realize to when you realized you were in the hospital.
I was still hallucinating from when I came up, when I woke up.
I was going to bring on to something from that, Liz. You're all over it. Good question. I wanted to move on to though, Karen being your world and all that. Then we speak about the catch-22 situation of being in and out, right? Like floating in and out of consciousness. So basically, you're now. I'm fast forwarding, guys. Yeah.
Okay.
Quite a few chapters. You're now. You can administer yourself morphine. You can give yourself morphine, but that's for you to decide.
Yeah.
If you take the morphine, whoosh, straight back to the flipping, the next, whatever, the world, wherever it is you went to the hell. However, you will recover quicker because your body is allowed to do what it's got to do. Now, after witnessing what you'd been through, you got a snake down your neck, literally. You're witnessing energy visually, and you know, you can't escape that. 4 days, whether it's, you don't know how long it's going to last. This is the situation. I don't know what I'm going to experience. I don't know how long it's going to last, but if it's anything like what I've been through, fuck that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or you stay with us here and you go through some pain. You just sort of just have to grit your teeth and bear it. But obviously your arm is the size of a flipping leg, and it's split open. Show the scars, Aaron. It's cut right open, isn't it? Right. So
if you go on to my website,
right,
www.neverreallyover.co.uk, there's my website has got actual pictures of some pictures of me and Karen, pictures of me in the army, that kind of, some of them which are informed my experience. And then there's some when it's got a graphic warning. So there's actually pictures from theatre.
Right.
Of it.
So you can see, you'll see.
I go sometimes there.
Yes, you'll see
my
it.
armpit,
now,
and then that side kind of there.
Look at that. Look at that.
Oh,
Yeah.
Gosh.
For real.
Bloody hell. That is big, isn't it?
Did you lose any of your memory?
Oh, yeah. Unfortunately, none of the horrendous, terrifying stuff. We'd been to Sicily on holiday. I think we got back a few weeks before this happened. Most of that is wiped out. There's a couple of bits that are not, and one of them is really important, and that would be a spoiler. One of them that's really kind of salient to the story, or one particular character in the story. And the weekend before, we'd gone to visit my brother and my sister-in-law, and we'd gone to Whitby for the day. For the day, we'd spent a weekend with my brother, who lives in a little town called Thursby, North Yorkshire, beautiful little place. That's wiped. When I got out, and I was at home, I had kind of short-term memory problems for quite some time. But no, all the terrifying stuff was seared into my brain, and I can still.
Hence why you're able to write a book about it.
Yeah, it's all still there.
So this was the catch-22, right? If you take the morphine, which you are self-administering now, like yourself, right? You are gonna get whooshed back into sedated head, coma. I'm out. Do you know what I mean? And you're gonna be witnessing what
How long for?
This is it, Liz. Or you don't give yourself morphine and you stay with us and you endure the pain. Then this is what I meant about Karen and the catch-22. In the book, you're in a state of you're with us, but you're not moving. You're just kind of sitting there. You're not saying nothing. You're not moving nothing. And Karen decides to press it for you, does she? She says, I think you need this. And you're like, no, don't. Like, no, I think you do. You look like you're in pain. And you're like, babe, don't do this. And she's like, I'm going to do it for you. So she pushes the morphine for you.
Yeah.
You're instantly like taken out the game. You're back into wherever it was you went. New dimension, new world.
Yeah.
When you went there in morphine, did you have any sort of control over that side of it at all, or was it the same as before? Because like when I have a dream, when I wake up from a dream, and I have no, I can't do anything in a dream before, but when I go back to sleep, I've kind of got a little bit of control.
No, none at all. None at all. You don't have any. So I kind of, when I'd go back under, I had no idea what was down there waiting for me. But yeah, I mean, what you're saying there, Julia, because for those who don't know, I mean, when who've never experienced kind of the hospital environment, sometimes what they'll do is when a patient's awake, they'll give you a patient-controlled anaesthetic. So basically, you've got like a little press dispenser. So when the pain becomes too much, you compress it. And to say Karen was engaged with my recovery is an understatement. And she terrified the staff and the ward because she was so on it. I mean, she
good for her
and
good for you.
She was there for handover in the morning, at the end of shift, going through the patient record.
Oh, that's love.
But she had read and she'd been told that my pain isn't controlled and needed to be controlled, because if it wasn't controlled, it will affect my recovery, make it take longer to recover, and will impact on the recovery of my arm. She at this point had no idea that when I went under, because it wasn't until well after that, you know, I could articulate what I was going through. So she didn't realize when she was pressing that. She just thought I was trying to be, you know, hardcore.
Yeah, she's oblivious to the hell you're going through. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
She thought she was doing the right thing, but this is what smacks
But
it.
this is
like,
what kind of
this is my world. This is my love. Don't, you know, take care of her. And then she pushes the button, and you must have been thinking,
Down I go. Down I go. Yeah. But this is Karen, right? When I got moved from intensive care and put onto a ward, because I was so weak, and my immune system, I always joke that I had like sort of 2 white blood cells, and one of them was on crutches. You know, the slightest hospital-borne infection would have killed me without doubt.
Oh gosh.
You know, I mean, a cold would have killed me. I was that ill and that weak. So Karen knew this. So I got taken to my ward and got put in a side room because I was high risk. And she stood in the doorway to my ward and gathered all the nurses around and said, right, nobody under any circumstances comes into this room unless they are directly carrying out treatment on their own. You don't come in to clean his room. You don't come in to give him food. You don't bring water in here. You don't do anything. Unless you're treating him, you stay out of his room. And one of the nurses said, well, you know, he's got to eat. And she went, yes, I'm bringing his food in. And she came in every morning like a Sherpa with my army rucksack full of food that she'd cooked for me the night before for all my meals, including bottled water, because she didn't want me drinking hospital water. And she man-packed this.
I love Karen.
Every day. One of the reviews on Amazon is the real hero of this story is Karen. I mean, don't get me wrong, she was a hero, but I still think I'm the hero.
I hope she doesn't ever get any bother, ever.
I have to say, mate, you're. I love how you
make me cry, isn't it? I'm never
for
gonna
real.
get over this. I'm never gonna go over it.
This is one of the best sayings I took from the book so far, right? Like I said, I'm still reading it, but the torture is saving my life. I mean, if that isn't the situation, it's like, that's it. And as much as it is torture, you know, it's deep. It's so deep.
Yeah. So that was all going on, and is that part of, like, that was part of your body fixing itself? You going through all of that? Like,
what do you mean, the hallucinations, or
or that was just a side effect from being in the coma?
So I mean, I suppose you're asking me really what intensive care delirium and intensive care psychosis, which are largely the same thing. They're just kind of, one's an American name. And this is something I'm quite involved with, getting the word out about kind of what people experience. People, you know, we've all seen people on TV in a coma, or if you've been really unlucky, you've seen somebody that you know and you care about in a coma. I've worked, when I was a physiotherapist, when I first left the army, I worked in intensive care as a physio, and I had no idea. But I had often looked at patients and thought, I wonder what they're going through, you know, what their experience. Is it like the out cold, they don't know anything, or are they pleasant?
That's what my perception was, is that they're just asleep, literally just asleep in dreamland.
Unfortunately, in a lot of cases, not. And exactly what causes intensive care psychosis, it's the current research suggests it's a combination of things. So it's the sleep deprivation, because when you're sedated, you're not sleeping. So you've essentially been sleep deprived. With sepsis, which was the infection. Well, I had a bacterial infection, which is necrotizing fasciitis, flesh-eating superbug. It's more commonly known as. So that which caused sepsis.
And is that rare?
Thankfully, yeah.
Good.
Yeah. So that is a good precursor. to experience in intensive care psychosis. The fact that I'm ex-military, veterans tend to be quite good candidates because of kind of the experiences we've had. Because a lot of those experiences, and you know, Jules is kind of great for me. You're kind of to be a good soldier. What you do is you have those experiences, and then you get them into a tiny, tiny ball. You squash them up into a tiny ball, and then you stuff them right deep down inside your psyche, so that you never have to worry about them again. And what huge amounts of hospital-grade drugs does is it opens that Pandora's box, and it allows it all to come rushing out, and you have to deal with it. But unfortunately, you're dealing with several other things at that time, like trying not to die.
Because you were in the Balkans, you
Yeah,
did a Christmas tour.
yeah.
I was, you know, I just let it flow.
Christmas tour, it sounds lovely.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, by the way. Yeah, and you're right. I vouch. It's when you're a soldier, you're not trained to process stuff. When
I think the opposite is true. You're trained not to.
Yeah, you're just reacting to the now. You're so present.
Yeah,
you're not pondering
absolutely
on nothing. So a tour of anywhere, you know, you're going to experience things that you're not processing until later. And you're right, you bury it. Aron, your book is amazing, man.
Thank you.
I'm telling you, your story is amazing. Like, for all the viewers watching, guys, you need to do yourself this favor and get to know Aron. Go check him out on all of the play. We've got the description in the description is the link to get his book. Michael's holding it up there. Get inside, understand what he went through, because it's going to open your mind and eyes to what people in coma do. Like, this is real living proof of something here that you can learn about through him, through his experience. You don't have to go through it, but the book makes you feel like you're going through it. Like, I feel like I'm there. Like, I felt like I'm, you know what I mean? I've witnessed it with you. Never really over. I want to ask you, like, the title. What does it mean? What does that mean?
That would be a real spoiler for the book.
Oh.
it's got a couple of meanings, and there's a very literal meaning which I won't share with you, because you will have to read the book and text me when you get to that point. You go, oh, I see what you mean now.
Okay.
Yeah, never really over. Yeah, you don't know when it because you're going through these experiences, and then you don't know that they're going to come to an end, and then you wake up and it's still not over, because you're still having hallucinations and delusions and paranoia, and you're looking at the nurses, you know, they're out to get me, and you know, you're still going through this, and then you come out of that, and then you start to experience a new thing, which is post-intensive care syndrome. So
is that not PTSD? It's something different.
PTSD is one of the elements of it. So you experience PTSD, but also, you know, poor coordination, poor memory, energy, poor levels of energy, confusion, paranoia, depression, suicidal thoughts, and these can last for months, and they can last for years. And it wasn't until I realized that intensive care delirium was a thing. I mean, I thought I'd lost my mind, is the long and the short of it. I thought I'd gone insane, and that was it. There was no coming back. And it wasn't until Karen, going through my medical records, somebody had written it was actually a nurse, and he was the most junior nurse in intensive care. He'd literally just qualified, and he'd obviously had a lecture and mentioned intensive care delirium, because he'd written in my notes delirium. Patient had experienced delirium, because when I woke up, I didn't want to go back to sleep, so I was terrified. And then we started doing research to find out about it, and I found this like support groups on Facebook for intensive care psychosis, and ITU delirium. And when I found out, oh gosh, it isn't just me. There are, you know, thousands and thousands of people around the world who've had similar experiences to me, and that I thought, I've got to write this book. This book has to be written, because originally I just started writing it down to kind of as a cathartic process, you know, kind of get the demons out of my head and down onto paper.
Yeah.
And then when COVID happened, I was kind of about a quarter of the way through it, and then I saw that people going into intensive care by the busload, I thought, Christ, these people are going to wake up and experience what I have or similar to what I have. And no one knows about this. This is a public mental health time bomb, which is going to explode. And I know people who've been suffering for, that I've met through various support groups that have been suffering for 20, 30 years. And the fact that I've kind of forced myself into recovery. I mean, I went, I suppose because I do, and it's my nature. And I think my experience was certainly made worse because of my army experience, because my brain had lots of really juicy stuff that it could use against me. But equally, I think my army experience was my saviour, because I used a lot of the tools that I developed from various kind of interesting jobs that I'd done in the army that kind of force resilience and self-reliance on you. Yeah. And I used those tools to recover. I mean, I had an amazing therapist. I mean, without him, I probably wouldn't have made it. But, I just, I just became a massive reader. I mean, I was always a reader, but, I was reading everything from, Andy McNabb to Marcus Aurelius to, Tony Robbins to Buddha, in a way of trying to understand my brain and what I was going through.
Only you, whoever, makes sense of it. I speak for a lot of people when I say that, Aron, thank you so much for making this book, because the way that you do articulate it, the way that you do put it to the audience, to the reader, mate, it's spot on. It's easy to follow. I get it, trust me. And the message is just so like, I understood it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I understand it. It's like I'm still reading it, but it's like, this is fucking amazing. Like, I hate that I find that your torture and pain and what your experience is like, it entertains me. I hate that. I'm not.
Don't feel bad about that. Don't feel bad about that at all. Yeah, I mean, I want some good to come of it. I mean,
I find it educational. I find it educational and extraordinary and very from a.
It's a true story.
From a humanity kind of. Yeah. It's like, it's so touching as well, and like. And all the characters, the pain of your family and the resilience of Karen. I mean, she's a bloody hero. So
yeah, she knows. She knows.
And also, like, spoiler alert, the good guy lives. That's a great story.
Exactly. Thanks. Let's make a movie, guys. Come on, let's take it to Warner Brothers or wherever. Let's get it in there.
I'm meeting a guy. I'm hopefully meeting him this week who's in talks about. He's taking it to a production person.
Let's support this. Everyone watching right now, if you haven't done so already, hit the like, hit the subscribe, follow us, follow Aron, and get a copy of his book and read it. You will not be disappointed. It is fucking amazing. True life story. Okay, Aron Welsh, mate, never really over. Book there. Click the link in the description. Get yourself a copy. Aron, from me.
I'll be sorry. Hang on. Don't finish up yet. I've got some questions.
No. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Sorry. Michael, Liz. Go ahead. Aron, you got time for questions?
Yeah, of course. Go on.
So I'm going to say some points first. Let me know if any of them are wrong, and then it will get to the question. So you was in the army for 8 years.
Yep.
How many injuries did you get in the army that are worth mentioning?
They're worth mentioning?
Yeah.
Nothing worth mentioning. A few broken bones, broken nose, broken cheekbone, broke my nose about twice, broken ribs, crack in my knee, but nothing.
So nothing that's life-threatening.
No. I mean, I came close to death quite a few times, but yeah.
Well, actually sustained.
Yeah.
So then you did this,
but no. Nothing that serious.
And you did this. You got the bacteria gardening. So this is my like crazy bit. So you did 8 years.
Yeah.
Been shot at, explosions, all these other things, and you can nearly die because you did some gardening.
Yes.
How?
Yeah, I know.
That's just what I want to get out there. Like all this crazy stuff you've done.
Yeah.
And gardening nearly took you out.
Yeah, yeah. I left the army.
So
my last job in the army, I was
from gardening.
School.
Yeah. Well, maybe read the book.
Okay.
Yeah, my last job in the army, I worked at a parachute school, then hundreds of parachute descents, 3 active service tours. You know, apart from a couple of broken bones, not really a scratch.
Yeah.
You know, ridden motorbikes, surfing, rock climbing, you name it. You know, used to be a proper adrenaline junkie. Nothing.
Yeah.
Gardening, Romford, nearly dead.
So that'll be a lesson to you.
Yeah,
ladies, when your man says they don't want to do the gardening,
you listen to them.
Don't make them.
Oh, love that.
Yeah.
Liz, have you got any other questions for Aron?
No, so I think I was kind of, you got me in the moment of when you were talking, so I had to kind of get it out and ask there and then, because I kind of needed that curiosity satisfied there and then. I just think it's extraordinary, like what you've been through. I think it's extraordinary that you've told and shared your story so that you not only educate people, but you can help people that may have possibly been through it and help them understand. And you know, maybe somebody buys your book and they've got somebody that's in there at the moment, you know, and it might help them. And so I just think it's extraordinary, and I think it's great that you have shown how amazing the human body and human brain is. So
I mean, it has been. I mean, people who have had similar experiences and have read it, the feedback's been amazing, and the feedback from like kind of the health professions community has been amazing. But the feedback for people that are completely unrelated has been great too. You know, it is. You know, it is. When I wrote it, it was kind of, yeah, a lot flatter, and kind of Karen kind of read it when, you know, that needs a lot of work.
I absolutely am in awe.
So it's become a book that I think you don't have to have any connection to any of the various facets of me and mine and Karen's experience, particularly. If you just like a book that's a bit of a roller coaster ride, takes you to a few dark places, makes you laugh and makes you cry, I think that's what we wanted when it came out. We want. I don't want to. You know, I do advocate for people in my condition, for people of my experience, and I am involved in several groups, but I'm not on a crusade. I want it, you know, it's to entertain.
No, but what I think is amazing and what I'm in awe of is that you have had that experience, very traumatic and tragic experience.
Yeah.
And you have put it out into the world, and you've used that experience and you've shared it. And you know, when you share that, you do in elements help people in understanding, educating, or even you know, bringing peace to them for what they may have experienced or what they may have somebody experiencing. And I just think that a lot of people could have come out of that, gone in therapy, and then just tried to get back to their lives and not shared it. And I think it's good that you've got it out, because I think it's good for you as well that you've not kept it in. You've not kept it in. You've got it out.
Absolutely. I mean, I wear these scars as almost like a medal because of what I went through. And if my book, when we first published it, I said if one person, because the day that I realized that there were other people like me, and I started reading their stories on Facebook, and I realized, shit, it's not just me. That was such a turning point for me, because I realized I wasn't going insane, and other people
exactly. So someone could read your book and feel exactly the same, and you bring them that peace and that ease that, wow, it's not just me. And I think that's amazing. So
or a family member, for them to try and understand it, because I know it's quite difficult to articulate some of the feelings and really kind of get it home how terrifying the ordeal can be. So I've tried to, without bullshitting or exaggeration, and without hubris, without romanticizing the experience, I've told you what it is like to be in a fucking coma. So if you've got family member or a friend who came up and said, "Oh, I was terrified. It was so scary down there," and they can't articulate it. They're too frightened. They're not. They don't have the words. They're not ready to do that yet. They don't talk about it or whatever. You know, by reading the, hopefully this is another reason, you know, why I want it out there, so somebody, you know, can you know, if their brother, sister, wife, mother, whatever, can't articulate what they went through, if they read mine and gone, "Oh right, okay, I get it now. Yeah, that all makes sense. That all makes sense."
Yeah, exactly.
Is there any likelihood of a book signing in the future?
Yes, I'm working on a couple actually, but kind of one of them that's related to, so Never Really Over was my story. I'm actually I'm in the process of writing other people's. So my journey from kind of what happened to me through been admission, this theatre, intensive care, coma, no award, and my pain and suffering after, and then my subsequent recovery. I'm writing a very similar book, but it's other people's in the different timelines as it goes along. So it will be a couple of stories about somebody when they were admitted, a couple of people when they were admitted, a couple of 3 stories about people's terrifying night hallucinations and experiences, a couple of people's terror when they were first brought round, a couple of people's experiences seeing a loved one in bed, and it will go through and chart some other people's experiences.
You know what? So I hear you say that, Aaron, and I feel in myself like, why do I want to read that? Like, why do I like? I know it sounds bad. Other people's pain, other people's suffering, other people's life experience. I want to know, and I'm just letting them know. Share your story. I want to say to like for everyone. I am saying it, and I know Liz was saying it. Michael saying it. I'm saying it. I think I say it for a lot of people. Aaron, thank you so much for having the bravery to do this, because you have no idea how important it is. Like I don't think like, you know what I mean, your pain, right, is and what you went through, and everyone else that you're representing, right, that's gone through coma and gone through them experiences. I don't know why I don't like that. I like it, but I want to know. I'm like, I want to know.
Very interesting. It's very interesting.
Why not? You know, I mean, I'm a cloud silver lining kind of guy, you know. I mean, and if at the end of this, you know, experience, you know, at the very least, it makes an entertaining and an interesting book that people, you know. I mean, we have been blown away with the response that the book has got. And I can't believe, you know, some of the comments and the feedback has just been unbelievable.
It's powerful. It's so powerful.
This is a very good book.
But I mean, and I wasn't expecting, you know, the kind of feedback. But I mean, if a few people had read it and gone, you know, I really enjoyed that. It was a nice book. But then, you know, when I sent out like sort of test copies and to a few people that I knew, and I had one of them, I sent them out quite early in the morning because I'm an early riser. And I got a message from somebody saying, "Thanks a lot, Aaron. I'm now going to be late for work, so can't put your book down." I thought, "Oh, okay."
That's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah. You know what it is as well, Aaron? It's almost like you let me experience it secondhand. It's
Thank
almost
you.
like you
in a safe way,
which I think is why, I think is why your curiosity, Jules, wants to read it when he explains that the other one he's working on, because it's not that you're like morbid or anything. It's because he's made you experience it without actually going through it. You know, so it's like I'm safe here, but I can still know about it. But then I'm back in my life and I'm okay.
It's like going on a roller coaster, right? You go on a roller coaster because you want the highs and lows and the thrills and the screams, but you know that, you know, eventually it's going to pull up and you're going to get off and you're going to smell candy floss, and you know, and you're going to be all right. 100%. I mean, I am planning on doing some. I don't know if I said that there's there is kind of talk about it getting made into a film or docudrama. They haven't decided, so I'm meeting somebody.
I really hope so.
So can we get your
I want to play Karen. I want to be Karen. Let me play Karen.
I just want your signature.
And also, I'm planning on doing some talks related to it. There's going to be 2 talks that I'm going to do. I'm planning on doing kind of specifically to the medical profession. Kind of this is what's actually happening to people, but also kind of more kind of motivational.
We'll have to come along to the motivational one, guys. We'll all have to go along and make a day and night of it. And
I mean, maybe I could do one on your show.
Yeah. Definitely.
I want my book signed.
Michael's all about that.
He's playing the long game, you see. He's thinking, right, okay. Sean Bean hasn't been doing very much recently. He could play Aaron, which would make it a good seller, and then this could be worth
and Middleton, I reckon. Get him on it, Middleton.
Yes, guys. Aaron, thank you so much for joining us tonight, mate. Honestly, thank you. Honestly, gratitude, just so much gratitude.
Thank you so much for giving us your time and your experience.
Yeah. She said.
Let's all do it.
She's thinking Uma Thurman.
Let's all do it. Let's all do it.
Definitely.
Karen, I am your #1 fan, other than him. But
this is my actually my favourite episode. The whole time I've been
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Aaron. And I'm going to get your book, and I can't wait to read it.
Enjoy it.
I'll be leaving a very emotional review.
Stuff in there, but
Aaron, is there anything you want to say for audiences watching you right now about anything at all? Go ahead.
And please let us know if there's any links or forums or anything that people could connect with.
Yeah, what is it they say on TV? If you've been affected by any of the subjects in this TV show, then contact. Yeah, if they've got, I'm very aware that people kind of are, coming out of, because COVID, I've seen so many people find themselves in intensive care, and if anybody watching this and knows anybody who's been in a coma, or then themselves has been in a coma, then reach out. It can be quite hit and miss kind of spot you can get, but I think the first stop for me and for everybody should be maybe to have a look at, go onto Facebook, which seems a bit crass really, and a bit trying, but there's some amazing support groups like intensive care syndrome support groups, intensive care survivors, post-intensive care survivors. If you just put intensive care syndrome or intensive care delirium or post-intensive care syndrome, any of those kind of into the search bar, you'll bring up some of the groups, join one of the groups, and kind of just by reading other people's experiences. I mean, obviously read mine because it's amazing. In short form, people put their stories on there and pass advice out, things like that. And they're a real family. I mean, I've got friends on there that I've Skyped and stuff over in America.
That's lovely.
Yes, awesome.
That's really lovely. Thank you, Aaron.
Yeah, for real.
It's been an absolute pleasure, guys.
Aaron Welsh, ladies and gentlemen. What a guy! What a survivor! What a fucking hero. Thank you so much for joining us here at the Elite Thinking Club. And for everyone watching, I'm sure you've got anything you want to comment, you want to message Aaron, go ahead, do it. He's there. And get his book. We've got the link in the description there. Get it, read it. Let us know what you think about it. Let him know what you think about it.
Can't wait to read it.
Honestly, guys, this needs to be a movie. Like, it's awesome.
We're going to pledge for it. Come on.
Yeah. Yes, get behind the movement. Yes, guys. Thank you very much.
Yes,
thank you.
Me and all the team, everyone, everywhere. Peace and love.
Bye.